Hi, welcome to KoasterMania. I'm Micah, and today I'm going to be ranking our top 50 coasters. Today's video is part 1 of 2, where we'll be discussing number 50 through 26. Over the past 2 years, Katie and I have gotten the chance to ride quite a few roller coasters. Some good, some bad. I wanted to wrap up this year by putting them in order from worst to best based on our opinions. This one's going to be a doozy, so hang on tight. Similar to our favorite theme parks, we haven't ridden as many coasters as other content creators out there, so if you don't see your favorite coaster on this list, don't fret, as we probably haven't ridden it yet. I'm going to be moving into this quick, so let's check out what our top 50 coasters are. Number 50, Gemini at Cedar Point. This aero racing coaster provides the only time that we've had on a coaster where you can high-five riders on the other train. The first drop on these are good, and the layout is long and relatively fun, even if it is a bit drawn out. The rest of the layout just feels somewhat uneventful, with the trains just slowly coasting around the turns. Other than the racing element, there isn't much else to this ride. No major theming, no standout elements. It's a pretty standard experience. Expect aero jank on the transitions of this one. Number 49, Flight of Fear at Kings Island. This custom Premier Rides launch coaster is a clone layout that is housed in an enclosed building. It's themed to space, but isn't Space Mountain. It has a really odd but unique rattle to it that I haven't really felt on other coasters. It feels like it wants to vibrate itself apart. The good news is that with the design of the restraints on this one, although a bit awkward, you're really not able to bang your head around. That does make this ride a lot more comfortable than I assume it would be if it had over-the-shoulder restraints. Number 48, Adventure Express at Kings Island. This aero mine train is all charm and aero transitions. Part of the fun factor of this ride is the fact that it tends to slam you around in the train quite aggressively. This is one of those mine trains where both riders in one row share a single lap bar, so expect to be sliding around in your seat quite a bit. Make sure to ride this with someone else so you can cushion each other during the janky transitions. Also, the theming on the final lift hill is fun. This is our favorite mine train that we've ridden. Number 47, Tremors at Silverwood. Tremors is one of the Temperamental 2 at Silverwood. It's a CCI wooden coaster that has a low and quick layout with a small twister section in the middle of the ride. On a good day, expect better rides. On a cold day, expect this to be underwhelming. This is a charming wooden coaster that isn't all that tall, but is one of the only coasters that I know of that has 3 different types of track on it. It has typical wooden track, RMC topper track, and RMC 208 retrack. Be sure to cover your ears during the twister section, as it can be quite deafening with that steel track. Number 46, Timber Terror at Silverwood. The second of the Temperamental 2 at Silverwood is Timber Terror. This is a simple out and back layout that is more focused on airtime. Similar to Tremors, during good weather, this runs better, during bad weather, this runs slow. In addition, this one also has some RMC 208 retrack on the turnaround. It's also quite loud. Who knew steel running wheels on steel track would be so loud? It would be interesting to see if RMC has any way to mitigate this, as I have seen quite a few guests express discomfort at the sound of this or tremors passing by. Maybe if the rest of the track gets the same treatment, they could replace the wheels with polyurethane. Number 45, Goliath at Six Flags Magic Mountain. Don't get this confused with Goliath, or you get the point. This Giovanola Hyper is a somewhat unique coaster in the amusement industry, being that it is one of 3 coasters ever built by this company. The trains are comfortable, it has height and speed, but not much else. You may gray out on the helixes though. I will admit I like this more than I feel like many other enthusiasts do, but I feel the reason for this is the size. I feel like I can easily appreciate a ride for its size, especially when they are bigger. Big rides are fun, and I think they always may be. Number 44, Apocalypse the Ride at Six Flags Magic Mountain. This is a very twisty GCI wooden coaster. It sadly lacks in the airtime department, but it's fast, aggressive, and packs a punch with its transitions. The queue-line theming is interesting, and I'm surprised they kept the virus theming on it with COVID happening. This one has a station flyby, which is a great addition, and it's always fun to scream as loud as you can during this since it echoes around inside the covered station platform. It would be nice if at least some extra theming were added to this ride to potentially enhance the experience just a little bit more. Number 43, Mystery Mine at Dollywood. This is a very well-themed Gerstlauer Eurofighter. It has some really fun elements spread throughout the layout of the ride. I would say that some of the forces are a bit underwhelming on this, but it still is a pretty fun ride. I just wish this had lap bars instead of the over-shoulder restraints. They turn what would be a lot more comfortable of a ride experience into something you need to watch your head out for. This coaster is basically a dark ride combined with a thrill ride, which is quite a nice mix. I love the way the ride building looks for this and how it provides a somewhat imposing figure on the path below. Number 42, Racer at Kings Island. This is a pair of classic PTC wooden coasters, both with a mirrored out and back layout. These were designed by the legendary John C. Allen. This one is actually a lot of fun, unless you pick the side that hasn't been retracked yet. Expect lots of potholes on that side. That would be the red side, although we'll see during the off-season this year what kind of retrack work they're doing. It does at least provide some nice airtime, and the first drop is quite fun as well, but beyond that, this is a pretty simplistic layout. At least it's fairly long. Number 41, New Revolution at Six Flags Magic Mountain. This is a Schwarzkopf looping coaster that sticks tightly to the terrain. The lead up to the loop on this ride feels incredibly classic and is super charming. It's this long straight lead up that almost makes it feel like the ride should be shouting, "Look out, here we go!" While it does lack in forces a bit, it's very smooth, which is characteristic of all classic Schwarzkopf coasters. Seriously, I don't know how they do it. And yes, we can't ignore the year when Six Flags tried to add VR to this ride to enhance the experience. I'm just glad I wasn't around for that. Number 40, Raptor at Cedar Point. This is a ride that many say is great, but we just didn't have the best experience on. It's a classic B&M invert that is whippy and has plenty of inversions. This one is also incredibly long and provides some nice views of the boardwalk area of the park. This one may rustle quite a few jimmies, but understand that Katie and I are not the biggest fans of inverts. In our opinion, they lack some of the classic charm and jank of older coasters and don't exhibit the crazy unique forces that newer coasters have to offer. Maybe if we get the chance to ride this once it's warmed up, we could have a better opinion of it later. Number 39, Montezuma's Revenge at Knott's Berry Farm. This was a Schwarzkopf shuttle looping coaster that was the last of its kind. The loop on Montezuma's was incredibly forceful and also had a nice launch too. This one actually makes me kind of sad. They've taken out the iconic flywheel launch that was one of a kind and are probably going to replace it with LSMs. Another huge disappointment is the fact that they're getting rid of the original trains too. I know that providing for a better experience is the goal of Cedar Fair on this one, but it still feels sad to me that a legend like this one is not going to exist in anywhere near the same form as it originally did. It will be very interesting to see what Knott's does with it this year. Number 38, Afterburn at Carowinds. This is another B&M invert that has plenty of inversions and a decently long layout. The first loop was forceful, and this also has some whippy transitions. This ride has everything you'd expect on a B&M invert. The trenches also added a nice twist to the experience. I will say we had a better experience on this invert than on Raptor, but it's definitely not our favorite. This was definitely aggressive, and at multiple points it did feel like my shoes were almost going to fall off, but beyond that, it doesn't stand out like crazy compared to other inverts. It still did treat us nicer than Raptor though. Number 37, Sierra Sidewinder at Knott's Berry Farm. This mock ride spinning coaster is a family but not a family coaster. It seriously provides way more intensity than it feels like it should. The landscaping in and around the ride is great, and it just is overall a really fun experience. It would be nice if the restraints were a bit more accommodating for larger riders. Sitting in the front-facing seats of the back car seem to almost guarantee that you'll be facing the ground on the low helixes on this ride. Just try not to reach out, as you may be able to hit the rocks below. I'm kidding, of course, but it sure feels like this is the case. Number 36, Ninja at Six Flags Magic Mountain. This is an incredibly fun, aero-suspended swinging coaster that sticks tightly to the terrain it sits above. It provides lots of great transitions that whip the train from one side to the other, and is fairly long too. Only bad part about it is the lift hill at the end acting as a bit of a buzzkill to a pretty great experience. Other than that, this is probably more entertaining to ride when the log flume is open under it, because otherwise the area beneath has no water and is devoid of any character. Number 35, the Bat at Kings Island. Take a lot of the positive that I said about Ninja and take away the lift hill at the end. This ride feels taller and faster and shoots through its layout as fast as it can. This and Ninja are why I love these rides so much. They feel like they're from a different era than the rest of the aero coasters we have. This ride model makes me really hopeful for the future of the S&S Axis coaster, which is the closest thing we have to this. Seeing how intense this one is make me wonder what it would have been like to ride the original Bat. Number 34, Fire Chaser Express at Dollywood. This Gerstlauer launched family coaster proves that good theming and a varied layout can make for a great ride. This is so far the first and only Gerstlauer family coaster that Katie and I have ridden, and I have to say, we were quite impressed. The forward section provides small pops of floater airtime, and the backward section provides for a very fun and out-of-control experience. Also, the launches on this one are surprisingly good for what they are. Make sure to look out for Crazy Charlie. Number 33, Tennessee Tornado at Dollywood. This is the smoothest aero coaster. It's a bit stereotypical to say that, but it's true. Designed with computers by Alan Schilke, this one abandons the cookie-cutter elements of the classic aero coasters. This ride is fast and is over as quick as it starts. Probably my favorite part of it is the ejector you get as the coaster flies into the final brake run. It makes me wonder what new potential aero coasters would have been like if they were still around to this day. Number 32, Wild Eagle at Dollywood. To round out this trilogy of Dollywood coasters is Wild Eagle. Sometimes labeled Mild Eagle by the coaster enthusiast community, Katie and I had a better experience on this one than I feel like most do. It isn't the most forceful B&M wing coaster we've ridden, but it still feels quite graceful as it flies through the sky. I really like the first drop on this one. My only complaint about this coaster is the fact that it lacks in the way of near-miss elements. This is the first wing coaster in the US. It feels like it's missing a signature element that these coasters usually have without having some sort of keyhole. Number 31, Gatekeeper at Cedar Point. This B&M wing coaster is the tallest and longest of its kind. It provides for a great facade to Cedar Point and also a ton of intrigue to incoming parkgoers. This ride takes full advantage of the wing seating and provides for plenty of head and foot choppers. As far as front entrance coasters go, this is one of the best looking ones out there. I wonder how many other Cedar Fair parks we might see similar additions, if ever. Number 30, Top Thrill Dragster at Cedar Point. If you like speed, this Intamin accelerator coaster could be one of your favorites. Launching at a posted 120 miles per hour and being 420 feet tall, this height and speed machine will surely impress just about anyone. The biggest letdown of this ride, however, is the fact that it's over in about 20 seconds. Similar Montezuma's, I'm curious to see what Cedar Fair does to this one. Number 29, Intimidator at Carowinds. Also known as Intimidator, this B&M hypercoaster is an airtime-focused coaster themed to Dale Earnhardt Sr. This coaster mostly follows an out-and-back layout and is a step above being a parking lot coaster since it sits on a plot of grass right next to the parking lot. The layout on this is just hill after hill after hill, then turnaround, hill, hill, helix, final brakes. I wish the trims didn't hit so hard since this ride crawls through the second half of its layout. Number 28, Diamondback at Kings Island. Similar to Intimidator, this is a B&M hypermodel that has an airtime focused layout. This one has less trims on it and the layout is slightly better. This coaster is definitely helped by the fact that it is not a parking lot coaster in any way, shape, or form. As an added bonus, it has a splashdown at the end. I hope that the rattle we felt on one of the trains can be rectified, as it may turn what is a fun ride into something that may become less enjoyable as time goes on. Number 27, Full Throttle at Six Flags Magic Mountain. Although short, this ride is surprisingly forceful. This Premier Rides launch coaster provides a crazy sensation of hang time at the top of its signature loop and feels like it's not going to clear the inversion every single time. After that, the pop of ejector you get on the way over the loop is crazy good as well, even though it abruptly gets cut off by the brake run starting on this hill. The pause in the middle of this layout inside the tunnel is a big surprise of this ride and absolutely helps make this layout even more fun. If only the line weren't so long on this all the time. Number 26, Thunderhead at Dollywood. To finish out part 1 of this list, we end with my lucky number. Thunderhead is a GCI wooden coaster that in some ways feels similar to Apocalypse. It features a twister layout, but this one has stronger pops of airtime and feels far quicker and more out of control than Apocalypse does. It features tons of speed and quick transitions, which makes it feel incredibly fun. This ride has a long and fun layout and also has a station flyby, which definitely is a good way to scare the pants off of any incoming riders. These were the top 50 through 26 favorite coasters of ours. Some of the choices may be a bit controversial, so I'm curious to see what everyone's opinions of these coasters are compared to our thoughts. Don't get your pennies in a bunch with these videos, as everyone is entitled to their own opinion, and no opinion is objectively correct, except mine of course. Stay tuned next week when we rank our top 25 favorite coasters. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, feel free to leave a like and comment below and consider subscribing. I intend on uploading more content as time goes on and as Katie and I experience more parks and coasters. You can also find daily uploads on our Instagram page at KoasterMania. Soon we'll be opening an Etsy page where you'll be able to buy prints and more of some of your favorite coaster photography of ours. Thanks for watching the video, and ride on, Coaster Maniacs.